Today's single best chart is on our shrinking collective paycheck. It's shrinking as a share of national income. This chart is from Rich Clarida, the global strategic advisor over at PIMCO. And what you see here is labor compensation as a share of national income falling sharply in the wake of the financial crisis. 2009 to 2010, it remains fairly depressed, even though it's come up a little bit at the end there. At the end of 2013, the share of national income paid to labor around about the smallest in at least 60 years. Now, there's a distinction here to be made, Tom and Adam. There's labor income, which is wages, salaries, and benefits, work-related compensation benefits. And then there's capital income, which is investment returns, interest, dividends, so forth. We're talking here about labor income and how it's fallen in favor of capital income in the last decades.
I would argue that that's actually more evidence of Mr. Piketty's comment. Remember the book that the beginning of the summer focused on inequality.
Well, there it is. Ellen Ruskin with us with Deutsche Bank as well. And this is the great American conundrum that Janet Yellen will confront at 10 a.m. this morning. When does labor get its fair share?
I don't know about fair share, really, but I think the question is really just when does wage inflation start to accelerate at least a little bit.
Do you see any indication of that?
The beginnings, really. You're starting to see private sector hourly earnings sort of tick up just slightly. And the problem I think they face is that it's going to be a slow haul, really. I think it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Right.
And the pass-through onto inflation itself might be slow as well. So it gives the Fed a lot of time to play.
Well, within that, and this is an important distinction, Deutsche Bank has a set of independent voices. Peter Hooper and Joe Livornia have arguably the most optimistic call on the American economy on Wall Street. Do you and Dr. Hooper see wage inflation clicking in if we get a Deutsche Bank economy?
Certainly if we get, say, 4% type growth numbers, then we will see that. I personally think that 3% GDP is well within reach. We saw, for example, leading indicators that came out yesterday had accelerated. We're very consistent with that kind of growth rate. So I think you will see the beginnings of this. But as I said, I think what you've got here is, in technical terms, the Phillips curve is very, very flat. The trade-off, when you get unemployment and slack being used up, the acceleration that you have in wages is very, very slow indeed.
I should note that Rich Clarida wrote that 3 factors will determine when and if labor's share rebounds in this cycle: productivity growth, pricing power, and the Fed's policy rate, whatever the Fed decides to do.
Well, we certainly have productivity growth, right?
Some might say it's peaked.
Yeah, right, exactly. Again, what are the other two?
Pricing power and the Fed's policy rate.
Pricing power is, I would argue, and Alan, comment in 30 seconds, pricing power, is that the one that's missing here?
Yeah, I don't think there's really pricing power at this point. Absolutely.